let's start with the label very generally speaking. If I've never
Yes.
heard it, how do you describe Shimmering Moods?
Yeah, well, it's a label for mostly ambient music and experimental music. But like you know, the whole ambient scene has got many, how to say, subgenres. So it's mostly ambient music, but with sometimes more lighter, sometimes more darker. But yeah, I'm putting out lots of different kinds of music. The first 2 years was a lot of drone based music, and now it's more also electroacoustic, uh, electronic, even some vocals now and then. Yeah, it's pretty it's pretty how to say, with lots of variety and diversity. That's very important for me.
Mm. Is there a difference that you can articulate between a release that you agree to put out and one that you reject? What are you looking for?
Well, like most labels, there are lots of artists, there's a lot of great music, and every day there's another demo, almost every day. Sometimes 5-10 demos a day, and when I'm listening, I always I always can hear if it's something for the label within a couple of seconds. Sometimes it's just a particular sound, and sometimes it starts very nice, and then all of a sudden it can change into something I don't like, maybe too much polished. That's a bit of a problem nowadays with demos coming in, that lots of music sounds the same, and the creativity and personality of music can be a problem. I'm looking for something like like I said, not too polished. It's more like a feeling, and it's hard to describe. Sometimes it's very accessible music, but sometimes it's more abstract, and I like to put out both. It doesn't have to be really like experimental or something. It's all ambient based in some way, but it can be more towards acoustic, towards electronic, beat orientated, can also be nice. It's more like different kinds of moods, different kinds of feelings.
Mm.
So honestly, it's hard to describe what I'm really looking for in music. It's difficult to say.
But I would, just to pick up on your point about how the music makes you feel.
Yes.
There is a consistency from my perspective in the releases that you choose, in that they do have a meditative, certainly relaxing feel to them. It is, I don't mean this disrespectfully, but it is easy to listen to music.
Agree.
It's quite complex. Is that a fair characterization?
Yeah. I think I agree with you on that. But it's for me personally, it's hard to describe. But I think that you can say that you describe it pretty good. It's accessible. Sometimes it's more abstract, more experimental, but most of the time I think I agree with you on that. It's accessible. Yeah.
We're here now 7 years after your first release. Has
Yeah.
it been a rewarding experience for you, the label?
Oh yeah, it's really rewarding, because otherwise I stop with it, and you know, it gives me a lot of energy. Every day I'm you know, I'm communicating with people all over the world, telling me personal stories about their daily life, and that's the most beautiful thing, you know, communicate with different kinds of people all over the world, sharing their personal music, and you know, music that was made with passion, with me. And yeah, I feel pretty how to say, privileged. Yeah, it's an honor, you know, to do something like this. And uh, also to have this feeling and this motivation every time I work on new releases, that it still drives me. I still have this like really um, uh, positive and energy, you know, full of energy with every release I do. Because it's not simply, you know, okay, we put out your music and the music will be mastered, and I'm sending the master to a factory who makes the CDs and put them in a box, you know, with the artwork and all, everything. No, you know, at the moment I get the music in, we discuss about mastering, we discuss about the artwork, and there also starts my the most work for me, because I make every cover myself. You know, it's all handmade. So with paper, with real photographs. First, we have to make test prints to see if they come out good. You know, and that's an ongoing process. And you know, people are saying to me, my friends and every people who are following the label, you put out so much music, you know, and how do you do this? But it's more like a routine, and it gives me very yeah, it gives me positive energy, so that keeps me going, you know. And yeah.
The label does have a very strong visual identity as well as obviously a
Yeah.
musical identity.
Yeah.
How
Yeah.
does that come together for you? How do the two relate?
Well, that's partly, I like photography. I like, you know, when I'm walking to the city or to the forest or to the beach, or when I'm on a holiday or something. I always look for what can be like a nice cover, what can be, you know, good with music. And that's the glass I have, my glasses I have on all day, you know, the way I look at an object or to some dirt or paint on the wall or something, then there it already starts. And it also starts with conversations with the artist. They tell me about their music, and you know what, some background information about the music and everything. And then sometimes I deliver all the artwork, and sometimes we do it both, you know, we look at my pictures, we look at the pictures of the artist. But most of the time artists also have a strong preference for certain artwork, you know, or they work with a photographer or somebody they know, or they are like a designer themselves or a photographer. So yeah, you know, because music and art and it's all related. So especially in this kind of music, I think.
It sure is, yeah.
Yeah,
How
yeah.
did you come to be interested in ambient music originally?
Well, I used to be in my younger years. I was very active in as a DJ. You know, many genres. But I think in the early 90s, I was very much into Detroit techno and the whole techno. Also, house music was very big here in the Netherlands in the 90s, and you know, and that really inspired me. And I used to collect lots of vinyl, went to record shops all over the world and in Europe. And Amsterdam was a very good place for dance music in general in the 90s. Later that changed, you know, it became all more commercial and everything, but still we have a pretty good underground dance scene with various types of music. But when I was going to the record shop, I also, you know, get in touch with other kinds of musical genres, and like ambient music or experimental music. And you know, it was, I think, the early 90s when I bought the Warp artificial intelligence series. And later on, you had, you know, the late 90s, you had labels like Defocus, still active, a very big techno label. Delsin here in Amsterdam started with more electronic ambient, Detroit techno, you know, more the listening techno music. And the B-sides always had soundscapes, always had like an ambient track. And that's where it all started. And yeah, and it grows and it grows. And yeah, so that's how I, you know, get in touch with ambient music. Yeah, it was a long time ago.
Why do
Yeah.
you think that it has such a long long history now? The sustainability of the music surprises me. When I was first buying
Yeah.
vocal records, Eno, Lanois, and all the rest, it
Yeah.
never occurred to me that that would still be such a creative force this many years later.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's a very productive genre. And um, um, yeah, that's a quite interesting question. I do think it's music that can made by a very easy setup. You know, you can make music with a laptop and everything, but the feeling and the personality and a certain mood in the music, yeah, that's a thing, you know, nowadays. And um, uh, but it's very like you said, consistent throughout the years, and still developing and um, you know, trying to redefine, is that correct what I'm saying? To redefine itself and reinvent itself.